some more analysis then on the developments of the ANC KwaZulu-Natal elective conference over the weekend. We are now joined via Zoom by political analyst Khanyi Magubane. A very good afternoon to you, Khanyi. Always great to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Flo, and to your viewers.
All right, well, let's start here. I mean, many expected, of course, Sihle Zikalala to return as the chair. Of course, he didn't. What does this mean for the province and the branches, especially those who voted against him? And it does seem that there was some sort of concession. If you look at how much he lost by.
Well, it's definitely a sign that the winds of change are blowing through KZN, and for the most part, Sihle Zikalala was expected to return, and his failure to ascend to the chairmanship position again definitely signals a change in the political journey of the province, because the Taliban group that Zwaniso Duma belongs to is not a Cyril Ramaphosa backing faction, and in fact many of their members were heard singing Wenzenu Zuma throughout the conference. And so I think that as much as we may have expected things to remain business as usual in the province, there's definitely a shift. Now we see the new young blood coming. We know that Zwaniso is a former youth league president in the province. They are going for a younger, more energetic, more youthful leadership. But more than anything, this is seen as a victory for the RET faction, which the Taliban group is said to be aligned to. And furthermore, for Sihle Zikalala himself, this leaves him as a bit of a sitting duck. He's in a vulnerable position. Many are asking what will happen to his position as a premier, and we'll only have to see what happens. If the words of the new chairperson are anything to go by, then for now his position is safe. However, we don't know how long that will be, because he no longer enjoys political backing. He is, for all intents and purposes, an ordinary member of the ANC. Now will be losing many of the privileges that he enjoyed as the chairperson. And it also takes us back to a similar situation, Flo, when President Cyril Ramaphosa was elected as the president of the ANC. Former President Jacob Zuma was president at the time. And so between party and state, also we saw the difference in two heads leading the country and another leading the party. As to whether Sihle Zikalala will continue to be safe after the December elections, the National Elective Conference, I think that hangs in the balance, and I suspect that at the end of this year we may see him also removed from his position as a premier of the province.
It does seem as though Sihle Zikalala is perceived or seen as a Cyril Ramaphosa man, and that Zwaniso Duma isn't. I mean, what is that thought driven by? I mean, there was a lot of talk, during the July unrest, and in fact during the time that former President Jacob Zuma was arrested, that Sihle Zikalala was supposed to do something about that, and one wonders what was he supposed to do at that point about that as the premier of KZN. And it does seem as though, or many are saying that he's being punished for that. But then one would ask the question, what was the expectation? What was he supposed to have done during that time?
I don't think his defeat today has much to do with the July unrest, as much as he may have been accused of turning a blind eye because of his alliance to the Ankole faction, as the CR faction is now known. I think we need to look at the provincial conference that took place over this weekend, but also it has been a long time coming. Sihle's position in the province has been hanging by a thread for a long time. The growing dissatisfaction in his response to the July unrest is just one of them, but also his continued, alliance to the current president Cyril Ramaphosa has also been seen as problematic, as the ANC in KZN has continuously grown to be more pro-Zuma sympathetic. So he was starting to become a lone voice, and he was starting to be isolated. And today's results are a further confirmation that his isolation has now been completed in him actually being ousted from that position. And if if the previous guest that you had before me is anything to go by, then we know what the Taliban thinks of the current president. Your previous guest, as he was talking, I was saying, if subtweeting was a person, then it would definitely be him, because he came onto the show and he said the president is doing as he please. He's not sticking to the mandate of the ANC. He's gone rogue. He's become a law unto himself, somebody that he is seen as completely impunitive and is above the powers of the ANC, and that they needed to unseat his faction to weaken his rise to the presidency again, because the KZN province is a very crucial province. It holds one of the ANC's biggest support, which has continued to dwindle, unfortunately, over the years. In 2014, the support for the ANC was sitting between 60 and 65%, and now in the last previous local government elections, we saw that coming all the way down to 41%. So the ANC is desperate to renew itself, but not as Cyril Ramaphosa at its head, as the KZN province is saying. We want the province to be renewed, but we don't want a CR man doing that for us. And that's why now I think they've chosen Usboniso Duma as the new chairperson.
Another issue, Khanyi, that is raising eyebrows, and we're talking about it right now, in fact, is that the president of the ANC and of course of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, had initially withdrawn from closing the conference. We got news that he has other engagements, and then now just a short while ago we hear that no, in fact he is going to be addressing the conference and indeed closing the conference. And in fact, when we crossed to our reporter in KZN, and Mhlongo, she was showing us the security detail that's been put in place for the president's arrival. What are your thoughts on this, on the fact that it's been a yes, it's been a no? We've been getting confused really throughout this weekend as to whether or not President Cyril Ramaphosa will be coming or not to that conference. Surely this does speak volumes to something. What is that something, and what are your thoughts on this?
Well, the flip-flopping between coming to address the province, not coming to address the province, and now subsequently we hear he is a bit of a faux pas from the president's office. I think from the onset, they should have confirmed his attendance irregardless of who takes the chairmanship. I think that would have signaled a more decisive leadership. But for all intents and purposes, it seemed as if the president was only interested in coming if a CR man won, and as such, if someone coming from another faction won, he's now no longer interested in coming to present the final and closing words, like he did when Oscar Mabuyane won in the Eastern Cape, like he did in Limpopo when he answered the initial questions around Phala Phala. There was no question. He just arrived. His support was seen and felt. And this time around, it almost seems as if it's forced. It seems as if he's been advised accordingly. Perhaps the NEC members made a few calls to him and said that for optics, he needs to go. He needs to prove that he is beyond and above factionalism, and that he shouldn't be found to be seen to be divisive within the party, that he should go in person and not just telephonically to congratulate the new leadership, that he should continue to put his stamp as the leader of a party, which is what he should have done in the beginning. It shouldn't be something that's now coming across as an afterthought. So I don't know what the reception to the president is going to be. We are hearing murmurs that he might be booed and that his presence at the conference might not necessarily be welcomed. I think he is going to receive a cold reception this afternoon when he does address conference.
All right. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. Khanyi Magubane, political analyst, speaking to us and weighing in on the developments which we continue to, of course, are playing out indeed as we're broadcasting for you here on SABC News.